other than this was going just completely off the rails. And now we have yet another two-person. Oh, it already looks like we are off. And the lamp off on the first shot. My goodness. Oh, and was that
that's that flippers on the other side?
Oh my goodness. Wow, we have hit this full octane. Oh my god, Trisscorp is playing the chess sprite. Praise all of your sprite artists, because that is amazing.
Hopefully he's alright to do the bomb jumps with that. It's one of the few sprites that doesn't have a shadow, but he picked it, so it's on him. It was his choice.
Well, we're gonna see if it plays off. Meanwhile, even though they pull off the kill and they get arrows for the tree pull, we're seeing escape sequences. We are seeing jumps into whirlpools to go to the dam. And we see that you took a little extra more than your allowance from your uncle, assuming to leave him for dead.
Yeah, that's nice too. It's nice to have the money early in case they need to do bombs. However, Nicholacci is just gonna opt to do the Houlihan room instead.
Absolutely viable strategy, especially after such an already high octane seed so far. It looks like after the last seed, this one is going to be taking no prisoners.
Can you even pull that off with the flippers? Or maybe he doesn't have them yet. I guess he does, because he would have started off in Sanctuary. I didn't know you could do that.
I was actually rather surprised myself, now that you mention it, because I didn't make that connection prior. That is fantastic. You really do learn something with every race, don't you?
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about that now. I wonder, hold on, I'll have to look at his menu whenever he opens it.
And we saw there might have been something of value on the race. And it turns out I was just wrong, and Mike the V says, bump that noise, I'm heading to see what's in the library, even more money. This looks like it's starting to slowly turn out to be a 1% seed.
Well, they do have the flippers, so in theory you could say we're about an hour and a half already ahead of the last seed. We got that going for us.
That is a very valid point. And as we saw, there was nothing too hot over in the Lumberjack Cave as well, so Aga may still be not required. Oh, and now we're going to see Thieves Town, and we're now going to see what is in Lost Woods. Lost Wood has Blue Mail.
It's always nice to get early.
Oh,
save
absolutely.
You some headaches.
Praise out to the Banana Hat. Meanwhile, some money, some arrows, a heart piece, and some more money. And what do we have going over in the bar? We have a bottle of green juice. Looks like he can go find the sick kid already. We have a fire rod in the Thieves' Den. Oh my goodness. In the Lost Woods. Sick kid providing... Oh, the Gamer Cow chest without the chest. Shoutouts to Gamer Cow. It also appears that, if anything, they might have found a single bomb or some money when it came to Mike the V, Trisscorp getting their mixtape rod. And now we're going to be checking what's on the inside of the cave. And we have 20 rupees. Meanwhile, we're finally going to the bombable house of the chicken hut. No wild chicken today, but we are going to find out what is inside of that chest, and it is another piece of heart.
Yeah, for the most part, you know, most of the items are always... This is always a safe place to start, so you will see our runners kind of doing the same things for a little bit, but, you know, depending on what they get, we could see a little bit of divergence toward the end. That was a hook shot from the bottle vendor. That's pretty awesome.
Wow! Oh my goodness, thank you for catching that, because I did not notice that right off the bat. Hookshot is huge.
You were saying this doesn't look like an Agana seed, but it's kind of starting to tell the tale a little bit. We'll have to see what else they get, but, you know, if they... all they need is a cape and a sword, and they can clear it, and they do pretty much have access to the entirety of the Dark World once they do that with that hook shot and flippers, so...
You are correct. However, even if they get one simple glove upgrade, they still have the ability to go through the majority of the Dark World thanks to those flippers. Now, well, we are also ahead of ourselves. They have yet to find the Moon Pearl.
That's true, but, you know, that's got to come up somewhere, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to already assume it's going to be in the Hype Cave of the Light World. we're going with Mini Moldorm Cave.
It's not a bad guess.
No, not at all. Now that I said that, watch it be an ice cave. Or ice rock cave.
I was gonna guess Eastern.
Ah, that's a good one. That is very fun to see because people have to really dig through on that.
By the way, we did kind of get started a little early. Haven't had much chance to introduce ourselves or our runners, but I'm Mac the Boker.
And hi, I'm Glenty. And today we have two competitions going on simultaneously. We have Mike the V versus SaltyPhry, and we have Trisscorp versus Nicholacci. All four of these runners absolutely fantastic in not only the routing but execution, and we are going to be seeing exactly how close any of these races are going to be.
Yeah, the runners on top, you got Mike the V versus SaltyPhry again. That's a match between two individuals that did win their first race. Trisscorp and Nicholacci, they did not win their first race, but it's good for them because we at least know one of them is going to rebound with the win. Unless, of course, you tie. I'm not sure what they'll do in that situation here. I've seen it happen, not in a tournament race, but I've seen it happen.
That is true, and we all have also seen plenty of crazier things happen in Randomizer. We're already getting a call in chat for, the shots have been fired. Moon Pearl and Mikan's Cave. Ooh. Oh. Hello, Internet Police. I'd like to report shots fired. And we have the Bloomerang over in... Whoa, wait. Oh, did they use the hook shot to bypass that one block? Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, you gotta time it just right, but you can kind of clip onto that chest just enough to allow you to reach it, and it saves you a couple screen transitions. This is a speed run after all, always looking to save time when they can.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of that, I'm just impressed. I'm learning everything, all sorts of crazy awesome things every day thanks to all of these amazing runners. Which, saying it early, means you should definitely go and make sure to give them some support, not only on here, but also on Twitch. Maybe give them a follow, check out their channel, and make sure to be also following all of the speed gaming as well as Randomizer Mania channels for more amazing Randomizer goodness.
I couldn't exactly see, but I think, yeah, that was Crystal's 3 and 7 at Hera and Eastern, and Desert looked like to be the blue pendant, but I think our tracker is already working on that, so kudos.
Oh, and speaking of, shoutouts to our trackers as well. Not only in the last race did we have... Oh, jeez, I can't even recall off the top of my head. Well, we definitely had, I believe... Maybe it was Terror, but it was at least someone, and now we have Dude going and tracking for us. Definitely within the last couple of races, and on the other channels as well, a lot of power hours for people behind the scenes.
To answer your question, I was tracking the last race, and just to let you know how difficult it is to track 4 people at once, I would rather be fighting Ganon with a fighter sword than doing that again. That was something else.
Oh, without a doubt, that is impressive, and kudos to you. Meanwhile, not finding a whole lot when it came down to both the Thieves' Hideout, aka Mini Moldorm, as well as, if I saw that correctly, oh, nope, that was a piece of heart coming from the Hobo. I also didn't notice if there's anything on Lake Hylia Island, but it did not look to be a whole lot.
I didn't catch it either, and I didn't see too much from the Lake Hylia cave either. No Moon Pearl, that's, that
is very true. That is still remaining a mystery. It still has the entire possibility of you being correct and it being in Eastern Palace. Because even though we already have the lamp, we still don't have any means of getting up to Death Mountain. So unless we find a pair of gloves or we find a flute, we're going to be going around and finding all sorts of things in the overworld, and then eventually taking the chance with both the flare rod and the hook shape to go through escape, which, speak of the devil, there we have Nicholacci already taking the chance, and as we are seeing, there hasn't been too much of an upgrade just yet, but they are at least progressing to make sure to get as many of the chests as possible, which at this rate, with the 4 bombs, they could complete the entire section. Now we're getting a check over from SaltyPhry to go up to Zora's, which is going to be an interesting play, but one that is worth it nonetheless. However, I did miss what was in Waterfall. However, oh my goodness, if I look at that correctly, we got Sword in the Waterfall. That is fantastic.
That's not bad. And yeah, something to add about Nicholacci, he doesn't have the flippers. He did start in Sanctuary, and he didn't grab them. I actually think he started in Sanctuary, he grabbed those flippers, and he reset so he could do a hula hand, because you wouldn't be able to do the hula hand with the flippers. I was really confused how he was able to do it, but that's actually kind of smart, because, I mean, you don't. That's the best time to reset your game and not lose any progress, but still get that money.
That is really clever. Wow.
Unfortunately, he didn't quite grab him as quick as he needed to, so he kind of has to come back and do this sequence over again. Actually, I don't. Maybe he hadn't already been down here, so.
I do believe we found it over with Trisscorp. I do believe Nicholacci went a slightly different route. We had just had a save and quit, though, from SaltyPhry. And we're also seeing mikethev go up and, I assume, complete as much of the Hyrule sequence as possible, and SaltyPhry not too far behind. Interestingly, how we diverged that we're still all parallel on the same basic routing concepts until we have a couple more key items to progress where we can not only fight things, but also where we can go and explore.
It makes a little bit of sense. They were probably really curious where the flippers were leading them, and it did get them their sword. Now they can attack things. It makes doing the escape sequence a little bit more manageable, but
very much more manageable indeed, especially with that charge attack, especially when you get up to the guards, such as this one.
Yeah.
You need to just peg them up against either the wall or the statue for the double slash, or the double spin.
They also have a fire rod too they could use at their disposal, but it is important to note that the logic wouldn't require you to have a sword to do these chest and escape. It's considered that it's always available because you can do it with just bomb.
That is a valid point. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the logic of version 26 does account for you having around 10 bombs at all times, even from the very start of the game.
With the early lamp, though, I'll be very interested to see what's in the back of Escape.
That is a very good point. That actually may end up being where the next progression item lies, and that could be very interesting, depending on what they pull out.
Yeah, it's always real sneaky to put a glove back there, because everyone's kind of waiting for a glove before they actually go to those chests. But when the glove's back there, you know, it's when you run out of places to look, I suppose.
I guess you could say until then the gloves are off. Bad puns aside, now we have what looks to be at least a single, and now, a single and 4-slash method to kill that armed knight. And pulling off the hook shot right before getting smacked in the head with the mace.
A little close there. He's setting up a death ward, but he probably didn't mean to pull it that close, all of our runners are really good, though, so.
That is true. Maybe they found a way to just route it as efficiently as possible, and if that is the case, kudos. Death Warp does, in fact, make it a lot easier to come up here to go through the rest of Escape than having to run. And Trisscorp, realizing that they don't have anything of value to find at that point, and now they are going off to what I can only presume is another part of the overworld, and nope, they are also heading right on in to Hyrule Castle, it appears.
I do believe Nicholacci's going to go to Zora after this. I'm really interested to see what item Zora has. Still outside of the logic as far as we know, but because he did that reset and got the money from Houlihan, he's going to be the only runner that can afford whatever item Zora's selling today.
Oh, that is a very good point. And that chest that we were wondering about only had a small key, which does suggest that you may need to consider the lamp for this section of the dungeon to get to the escape sequence if you do not have the gloves. Logical in the logic, of course, as it should be. We are also simultaneously getting some Sarashula. There is the glove in Sarashula's hut. The old man and a shield upgrade. We not only found the power glove, but Fisher-Price my old shield in the old man's garage. Meanwhile, in the escape sequence, we have 10 arrows, the burrito, and a piece of heart. Looks like that one gamble did not pay off for SaltyPhry.
In case our tracker did miss the text, I think he's on it though. Swamp Palace was our green pendant this evening.
Absolutely. To be fair, with the amount of items that they are currently clicking off, I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to miss it, so good call on you. Meanwhile, we're finally seeing our first jump into the Eastern Palace. Now that they have the glove and the hookshot, although they are missing other essential items for the Dark World. If we only see the Moon Pearl, and we do not see a hammer, or perhaps a golden glove, we can confirm that Aga 1 is most likely required. Oh, getting hit by the big old bubble. You always hate to see that when the RNG pops out. SaltyPhry just getting the glove, and it's Fisher-Price my first shield before making the save and quit.
I can't tell if I'm losing my mind or not. I saw him go to the back of sewers. I didn't see him grab those 3 chests, though.
I did see the escape sequence happen. They were not able to find much of value. That was happening simultaneously as we were watching the reveal of Sarashula holding off the stuff in its garage.
I'll assume that he did, and yeah, Death Mountain looks like a really nice play now with gloves, lamp, and hookshot in hand. That gives you access to quite a few chests.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Mike going along with the Eastern Palace route while Salty decides to take the chance with glove and hookshot in hand along with the lamp to just say, you know, chances are I'm going to find some sweet items over here. Who knows?
With what we've seen in Eastern right now, this appears to be the right play from, you know, the information we can grab from the other runners. We do have a shovel.
We got the fetch quest. Let's go. Ultimate fetch quest. Shovel into the mushroom, into the magic powder, vanilla style, into the book, into a tablet.
Oh no, don't give him a break, alright? We're all beaten and battered with this logic. Sometimes it's nice to have a nice easy seed every now and then. Of course, we don't want to see that, but you know what, being a runner, I feel for them sometimes. Very seldom, though.
Nonetheless, it is absolutely part of the challenge, and let's face it, sometimes randomizers have been a little too generous, although we have seen some very generous seeds as well on this tournament. We now have Eastern Palace not really providing a whole lot, a piece of heart inside of Spectacle Rock, and on top of Spectacle Rock, we have an arrow upgrade. It looks like there was not a whole lot on the west side of Death Mountain, however, we're now going on to the east side. And we have Mike the V going and checking the escape sequence, finally leaving no stone unchecked. Trisscorp making their way up to Sarashula's. Let's see where they go in their routing next, while Nicholacci seems to be a slight bit ahead of them. Getting the RNG to make sure only 2 Skelebros end up showing up to be able to throw over those pots and continue on their way.
Yeah, I think Nicholacci had skipped just a small sequence. He doesn't have, or no, he does have his blue mail, so.
Yep. And sorry to not mention it earlier, but they did. But SaltyPhry did just find the cape and the moon pearl.
There's and the cape.
That is a very. Oh, we have Master Sword and Ice Rod.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably not the Fire Rod.
Well, I'd be very surprised if it was the Fire Rod at this point.
Fire Rods, 1 for each hand. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, of course not. Who doesn't like a little bit of double wielding? However, at this point, I must admit, it does look a lot closer like they are hinting at the idea of Aghanim 1. However, is that the trap?
It'll depend what's in this Spiral Cave chest. I think his only options he could be open for would be, you know, hammer or another glove upgrade. I may have missed what the shovel led to, but those appear to be the only options left.
Although, I must say, we also have yet to check Agana's cave.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about. That cave doesn't exist in this game until the hour mark.
How did I forget the global timer?
Yeah, there is that lone cave and desert that was very pivotal in the last run, but we've yet to see what was over there. So if that is indeed, you know, the hammer or the mitts, that would obviously allow them to skip doing Agana. However, there's nothing there. Then you just waste time walking over. So that's the gamble they get to make.
And speaking of nothing there and wasting time, we ended up having a little bit of an unfortunate example of what happens when you waste time going to Spiral Cave without the boots.
It's the walk of shame.
The walk of shame and disappointment. It's like finding out you won 100 grand just to be handed a candy bar.
SaltyPhry is not going to worry about those few single locations they left behind. The logic's pointing to Agana, and that's what he's going to do. And I mean,
to be fair, this is screaming at this point Aghanim 1, much to my chagrin. But who am I to argue that that is definitely an obvious play within the logic? We will find out very shortly if that was indeed intended or if it was just a bamboozling all along.
Well, it's actually pretty fortunate with the items he has in hand. I mean, unless it wasn't, that actually means he'd be leaving a really key item in Agana, but outside of that, I mean, this still gives him access to so much, and it'll pay off for him in the end. So I don't think, even if it was required or not required, he'll still have a lot available to him.
Fortunately, at this point, he is still plenty decently ahead, having checked almost everywhere at this point.
Yeah, pretty much the big difference you're seeing between him and mikethev is mikethev went into Eastern where SaltyPhry didn't. I think that's the time difference we got going on with them right now.
Absolutely, and right now, as we're seeing, it potentially has paid off. Meanwhile, we're now finding that Trisscorp gets their Fisher Price I need to go to Aga 1 starter package.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Almost the exact same words. I was going to use a Martell brand, though, not Fisher Price.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice.
But, you know, this isn't a sponsored stream after all.
Brought to you by 24-hour all-day non-drowsy Claritin. No, just kidding. We're not sponsored. But nonetheless, we are seeing SaltyPhry going through Aga 1, no problem whatsoever, rather.
Is sneezing making you fall from Ganon?
I mean, it's entirely possible. You
really
can't count
is.
anything out of a speed run.
But yeah, it looks like everyone's kind of gotten the picture here. All right, I'm going to go to Aghanim. Nicholacci is still not sold. He's already been to Eastern.
Nicholacci taking the moment to say, you know, out
He's
of
buying
anything.
bombs.
Ah, that is a very smart strategy, all things considered.
It
Meanwhile,
makes me wonder if he's buying bombs, if he's going to go to Aghanim before he goes to Aghanim. But I mean, or maybe
he's going to the old man. I'm assuming that they hadn't checked over Eastside Death Mountain. They are desperate to make sure they don't have to go over there. Unfortunately, they're going to be getting the telltale signs. Meanwhile, as SaltyPhry not only took care of quick work of the rest of Aghanim's tower, but Trisscorp as well so far. Oh, and we are getting some decent RNG from Aghanim 1. We're about to find out what is in at least one side of the Dark World before we find out if we have an even bigger problem on our hands, which is where the heck will the routing bring them next?
yeah, they'll definitely have a lot of choices they can make. You know, they can head up, check Catfish, you can dip in the pot, or you can just do the complete wraparound and take your chances. Go Woods, Thieves Town, or just go even further, all the way around to Hype Cave. It's
Actually, funny enough, with both the flippers and the hookshot, they really do have access to everywhere, despite the fact that it is a little backwards and a little roundabout.
It's really obnoxious to, you know, try to efficiently route it when you don't have the hammer, because you're kind of really trapped on a one-way circle.
There's something just aesthetically pleasing about watching a chest with a shield destroy guards in Hyrule Castle.
I like that it's green now too. Only a heart container on the pyramid. SaltyPhry, not worried about it.
Let's hope the price was still right, because the immediate value sure seems like the price was wrong.
He's heading up to Catfish. Not going to be fooled by, you know, leaving that for one of the last possible places you check.
Oh, absolutely. And we have seen in previous races, sometimes Catfish holding an important item has made a major difference.
It makes me wonder if he was tuning in on the last race.
Makes me wonder if he's worried about getting catfished. Meanwhile, we have another Agate 1 fight going on. Zelda doing the disappearing act into the mysterious section of the void.
So, Skull Woods was the red pendant. Thieves Town was Crystal 6, and that was all I saw.
And, oh, looks like they were offered a small bit of money for the offer of, well, their bank account information, because Catfish just provided nothing but a catfish.
Quick 20. I mean, doesn't really need. I mean, if he, you know, does want to check Zor anytime soon, but I imagine by the time he gets around to it, he's probably going to find more than enough money. So, probably the least of his concerns. Probably would have rather had, you know, a better item like the mirror in last run.
Oh. It would only be a nightmare to see that Zora had an item that would have prevented Aghanim 1.
But seemingly a pretty linear seed to start. Everyone, for the most part, did exactly the same things.
Indeed, you are correct. Now we're actually seeing SaltyPhry end up heading over to where the graveyard is. Going to most likely go over to Thieves Town after maybe checking Bumper Cave. Yeah, Bumper Cave.
Yeah. And Bumper Cave is accessible to them because they do have the mirror. You got Ice Palace being Crystal 5 also. And then everything else is a crystal except for Swamp and Skullwoods. So 5 and 6, Ice Palace, Thieves Town, and then Mire, Pod, Turtle Rock, Crystals. And the tracker appears to be on top of that, so we're good to go. So SaltyPhry will head into Skull Woods. Actually completable right now.
Valuable play considering the likeliness of all of the things that have been happening with Skull Woods and V26 logic.
Yeah, it's been pretty prevalent to just go ahead and throw some really nice items in there, but even if there is nothing there, it's a crystal he has to complete. It's on the way of actually it's a pendant, excuse me. Oh well, you know, there might be something good in here regardless. They gave you the items, let's check it anyways.
We're certainly going to be finding out. In the meantime, it looks like we haven't really found a whole lot of value over in Skull Woods. And Mike the V is going to be getting an email from a mysterious royal member of some sort of country asking for their bank information.
It is really surprising to me that three of the four runners outside, whenever they finish Aghanim, they're just gonna go check Catfish and then they're gonna head up. Everyone, for the most part, is really doing the same routes.
It is very interesting to see the collective hive mind of these runners double-checking all the places just in case they end up missing something crucial.
I haven't seen anything relevant in Skull Woods yet. I imagine he got the big key if he's going to be taking the back door here. He does. He has the big key and the compass already. And some more small keys to boot. So, looks like all the goods are going to be locked in the annoying Gibdo room or in the dungeon itself. He is opting not to check those. I'm pretty sure there's no way he would have found all the items yet.
No, highly doubtful that they found all of the items at this point.
I don't blame him, though. I hate that push block room with the Gibdos, and then you got a hand trying to grab you on top of that. It's The developers must have had a bad day when they designed that room.
To be fair, I do believe that is entirely possible that they could have had that. Or, optionally, they just decided we stopped caring and wanted to make something absolutely miserable.
Could be true. We'll never know.
And we're seeing clearing more on SaltyPhry 4. Dark World. Wow, I almost called it Thieves Town, but it's actually the Village of Outcasts. Meanwhile, the runners all, yep, even Nicholacci following suit, going catfish, most likely checking Skullwood's neck. And now, SaltyPhry just opening up Thieves Town, going over to the C-shaped house.
And mikethev opted to check the chest that SaltyPhry missed, while they both, in sequence there, grabbed 20 bucks.
You sure gotta love that interdimensional high five. Meanwhile, we are now dipping into Thieves Town. We're going to be finding out what Thieves Town will have in store for us for at least the first 4 chests. That was looked like 10 arrows, but not an arrow upgrade. And if I saw that correctly, Thieves Town is in fact a crystal.
Yes. It's one of the Fat Fairy crystals. I imagine, even though he doesn't have the hammer, he'll probably see this to fruition and finish it up. It's always unfortunate when there's an item dragging that big chest, though. It lingers in the back of your mind for the whole entire run, thinking, you know, is this going to be what makes me lose this race? Because you never want to go back and check it. I mean, it takes so much time for being such a low percentage play, or you could just find the hammer in this dungeon and, you know, not have to worry about it. I'm sure that's what they're hoping for.
That would certainly be something I would be hoping for myself in this run, because without the hammer, they are very limited on where they can go. Speaking of limitation, they also have a lot of limits on where they can go thanks to the Golden Glove and the lack of boots. Boots, while not as necessary, do not only just provide a speed increase, but in the case of some of the objects that you can perhaps jump over, you can definitely bonk into walls and bypass worrying about losing a heart to falling down and starting where you started in the beginning of the room.
Yeah. And then, you know, situations like what SaltyPhry is about to run into in the Hellway here, it's nice to just be able to dash into everything and not have to worry about it, but without the boots, unfortunately, you kind of have to, you know, use a little bit more finesse getting through, but he's using the hookshot real nice to get through that room. That was very well done.
Hookshot providing that little bit of invulnerability to make sure that, what was this? Trisscorp ended up dropping. Was that an intentional death warp we just saw? It appears to be so.
Yeah, he probably just went and checked that back chest and left.
I do not blame them. Because in this case, if you do not have to go and fight Mothfila for an item, there is no real purpose in the event that this is not a pedestal seed.
SaltyPhry is going to have to be really careful here. He only has 1 heart left, and any clip from these crickets will get him.
Oh, they're crickets? I always thought they were just really oddly shaped oblong lizards, but I will take it. They are nonetheless obnoxious and trolly, and will easily take down the last bit of your hearts when you don't want them to.
I don't believe we've actually commentated together, but please don't take any of the information I say as fact. I make up stuff all the time, so you call it whatever you want. Nobody listens to me, and for good reason.
Everything is now Jeffrey.
There we go. I can get by that.
Meanwhile, finding a Jeffrey in the Jeffrey, as Jeffrey falls into the Jeffrey. No, just kidding. Meanwhile, Nicholacci ends up only finding that small key in the big chest. We have the bomb wall hut being opened by Trisscorp. We see SaltyPhry heading over to go find Blind. Unfortunately, without the hammer, they're not going to be able to double-check the big chest. Let's hope they have been counting and found out that they didn't have any other items to find. So far, it does not appear to be that they are missing anything except for perhaps a dungeon item. I know they at least have the big key, and I do believe I saw them pick up the compass.
I know that they did pick up at least either the map or the compass. I don't remember which one it is. SaltyPhry again, heading to his blind fight now. He was taking a little bit more damage than he wanted to on the way. He only have 4 hearts, 5 if he picks up this one here. He does have the cape though, but you still kind of have to be a little careful for this encounter.
Unfortunately, Nicholacci goes down, but it does look like they also found the lost item they were looking for, so they death warped out of there. And now we are seeing our racers continue on to attempt to go through as much of Steve's Town as possible, hoping for the hammer, only to find out that Blind is going to have a 50-50 chance of having an item. We will not be able to guarantee
All right, he gets that cape off with just 1 heart.
Oh.
I was watching that intently. He did really well, and then
And it was Bombos as the last item. Let's find out if we're going to need that for either crystal and crystal and medallion required dungeons.
or a glove upgrade from being able to obtain that information, but I'm sure they'll be glad to have it.
That is very true. We are indeed, and in one case, also a hammer.
And a flute.
Yeah, that's also a good point, isn't it?
Well, they'll be
Okay,
able to,
so we're
they can
plenty of
check
progression items away.
Yeah. And they can check what medallion was required for Turtle Rock. They just can't actually, open it.
That is very true. They could end up going over there as soon as they're able to open up the Dark World.
Yeah, and it's not a bad play at all because you have, they have the hook shot, so they could check all those chests as well.
Absolutely, and let's be fair, even if they didn't, intel is key. Speaking of intel, we're all about to find out through SaltyPhry. Oh, it is just a piece of heart. Why are they still digging?
It makes me wonder if he was trying to just grab some extra money there.
Trying to make their money back over getting a terrible prize? I do not blame them. Meanwhile, Hell Holloway living up to its name for Trisscorp, pulling off the Cape Strats effectively. And mikethev is slightly behind SaltyPhry's trail by going and tackling Blind now. And we're going to see what Old Stumpy has for us today. We have literacy.
Whoa. Okay.
They're about to take a look in that book and find out whether or not any of those tablets are in fact related to Reading Rainbow.
Well, they can't actually access any of the tablets at the current moment without the mirror or the hammer.
Ooh, that is also a very valid point. Oh, but they can check one specific thing.
They can check the pedestal, and then that book does give them access to go inside Pendant Desert Palace if they please also. But we have Hype Cave here.
Oh my goodness, Hype Cave living up to its name with the hammer being right off the bat. The carrot sword, eat your vegetables, kids, and that's gotta be Kane. By God, that's gotta be Kane.
I think they've reprogrammed that cave. That cave was actually very hype for the first time in a while now.
That was actually legitimately hype. Wow. Shoutouts to that secret update. That probably didn't happen, but I'm just assuming it because of confirmation bias.
Yeah, we're getting word on our end now that they did actually reprogram that cave. Tune in for more updates. Again, don't believe anything what I say to be true. No one's going to tell me anything.
Oh, wow. That is a very nice update to see what we have, although we are still missing some important just places that will, or items that will open up places in the map. We are still missing a golden glove. We are still missing the boots. We are still missing the flute and the mirror. Oh, actually, I take that back. We do have the hammer now, so up to the top of the mountain we go. Most likely over to Tower of Hera as well as Ether, likely taking the chance to see what is over there, as we also mentioned that broken pencils are pointless.
Yeah. I guess Blind's puns are on point today.
Oh.
Hey, I did it. Anyways,
I'd rather erase that one from my memory.
Oh.
At that moment, haha. Oh, the Dead Rock coming in and just deciding, what, you want to get over here? Nay. But then they just got blinked out of eternity thanks to a little thing that we like to call... Oh, geez, I actually forgot what that technique is indeed called when they actually just wipe it from the map.
It's called the walking off of the screen technique version 1.2.
I'll take it.
That's the technical name for it.
I will take it because I don't have a better name for it off the top of my head. And into Tower of Hera we go.
Yeah, it was a good move by him. I mean, the hammer, it unlocked a couple of other things he could have done, but they were really kind of a trudge to do. This is something he's going to have to do anyways, and, you know, maybe this is the next piece of the puzzle, and that, you know, it'll allow him just to, you know, keep moving forward at a nice pace, opposed to just having to run around and check single item locations.
Absolutely. However, we are also seeing that Tower of Hera decided, oh, you have to go into the basement. You're going to have to take the extra 20 seconds. However, if they pull it off effectively, which it looks like they are attempting to, SaltyPhry is about to have 20 seconds to sit there, have a drink, read War and Peace, maybe go make friends or amendments with someone they've wronged in the past. Because they definitely have plenty of time in the world at this point, until that tile room completes. Old Sumpy getting its check once again, and Blind being taken into its second phase, or out of its second phase into the third, without too much hesitation.
Mike is
like
right
that,
behind, going to be checking his Ether tablet, and everyone's kind of, for the most part, this is a very, at least the breadcrumbs are seemingly very linear, so everyone's just kind of following behind.
It's all valid strategy too, which is kind of what I'm imagining is happening when you have a lot of runners that are of similar, if not equal, levels of skill and experience.
Oh, most definitely. Everyone in this tournament is very good, and the play has progressed to such a high level that, you know, even just tiny minor mistakes are what could really be the difference between a win or a loss. It's incredible to watch now, and it's even more incredible to, you know, try and compete.
You are absolutely correct, and sometimes execution is really all the difference. Taking the option to go and click the switch, but not really mess around with any of the delay tactic. Perhaps going and taking the other option of making sure to hold on to that pot until the very last tile is up and throwing it as soon as the frame allows it to be not invulnerable, or to be vulnerable rather.
I think that is his plan.
And
there's an Ether.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was either Ether or a wavy coin, and I thought I saw a lightning bolt. And oh, just barely missing that tile by about a quarter of a second.
I think he was just kind of having a little bit of fun there.
Oh, might have been. Entirely might have been. And we finally have the big key. Meanwhile,
interesting where they decide to go after Hera, but I still think there's one more item to be checked in here, so we'll see if this is the next breadcrumb they're looking for.
If memory serves me correctly, they had 2 items. Nope, they didn't have 2 items. They only had 1 specific item so far, and that is the arrow upgrade.
Probably not what they're looking for. If he wants, he can just go right out the front door and check Spike Cave and not have to worry about the mountain again.
Absolutely. Although, admittedly, despite the fact that it has shown up with a couple of valuable things here, I also have noticed that in V26, Spike Cave does not seem to be really necessarily included in the logic, and we have the bow. This is a huge update for Palace of Darkness, which, as we know, has plenty of chests and many items for you to pick up when you go through there.
That's a huge find for Trisscorp. The bow and pod is such a trolly location. That's not where you want to be looking for that bow.
Absolutely not,
wow.
But they ended up getting lucky on that one, probably considering at first, maybe I should go through here and route as much as I can before coming back, only to get everything they need to complete yet another crystal dungeon.
It's even more fortunate for him too. He's on his side of the race. He's one of the ones that opted not to go into Eastern Palace early. So whenever he does make his trip into there, he can, you know, clear it a little bit more efficiently than his opponent.
Oh, missing that one last arrow, getting a little excited ahead of time.
All right, SaltyPhry is going to be checking his Agana. 44 minutes in, 45.
Oh, it hasn't been an hour. This cave doesn't exist yet, apparently. And it's just the red boomerang. This time we got a completely different red item.
I might have died a little bit if I would have saw the mitts in there. Like, that would have actually killed me.
Oh, that would have... Oof. It's not even possible anymore, and I'm already getting a little bit of a shiver thinking of it. Meanwhile, Mike the V actually taking the chance and going into Spike Cave, getting the hammer out, getting the cape ready. Meanwhile, SaltyPhry took a look in a book and opened up Desert Palace.
I think that might be a trademark catchphrase there. I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Actually, that's a good question. I don't think it is, but I will double check just in case.
Yeah, let's pull up legal real quick. I think that shows. Been a while since that's been on the air. Yeah, SaltyPhry, following his breadcrumb trail, taking his trip into desert, finds a compass in the first chest, meaning there's nothing else he can do in here. There's going to either be a big key or a small key on that torch, and he doesn't have boots to knock it off.
Very unfortunate indeed. However, as we're seeing, even through all of this, we have plenty of action going on with, say, Trisscorp through Palace of Darkness, clearing as many chests as possible.
Oh, Nicholacci getting rock blocked there a little bit too.
The rock is always an unfortunate block when it comes to going anywhere where you're trying to progress or walk. Meanwhile, SaltyPhry heading on the way over to what looks like going to be the Dark World Warp so they can go into Palace of Darkness, and nope, they are going straight into Eastern and finally taking care of that, even though we know, all in all, it may have been a wiser decision to head over to the Dark World first so you can even consider taking care of both sections at the same time.
Well, he doesn't have the mirror.
Oh,
and
you're right.
He's probably hoping he might find the mirror in here. I mean, it was really a 50-50 gamble for him, and unfortunately it's going to be a real kick in the face, because I imagine once he comes up with nothing here, he might check the shovel spot, and then he might go into pod, and when he finds that bow, he's going to be like, why didn't I just do this first? So
yeah, it's unfortunate, but nonetheless, you are right. Without the mirror, it is still a 50-50 chance on which one you go for first.
But from a viewing standpoint, I'm kind of happy he did it, because I think that's basically just going to equalize the distance he had between him and Mike the V, and I imagine that race it's going to be really close. I imagine they'd only be a couple screens behind if he decides to go to pod next.
It's also very interesting to see that the two opposite sides of each screen is actually seeming to be more ahead than their opponents, because right now, as we see, Trisscorp is cleaning house, and even though Nicholacci is not too far behind, you can also say the same about Mike the V versus SaltyPhry. Regardless, this looks like we're going to be having two races very close, simultaneously being streamed, which also means we're going to have some very, very interesting moments when it comes down to the last minutes and its execution. Another small key, which means we are about to be entering the maze. With the lamp, that's going to be no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. Be really interesting to see what Nicholacci does after he finishes up Hera too. If he goes in the pod, he really does keep this neck and neck, but if he takes the same desert bait that the top runners did, that's only going to push him a little bit further behind. But in his defense, he's still up here knocking out crystals.
That is a very valid point. Nonetheless, the crystal lead is still not growing. because each one seems to be going at different divergences. It may turn into, despite the divergences, them coming back at very similar times. Inside the big chest, we have the Titan's mitts. Oh, wow. That is...
I was wondering when those were going to show up. Between all the information we have from the 4 screens here, they're really running out of possible locations to look. Taking the death warp there is really smart. No one wants to walk all the way back through the maze.
Right you are. My goodness, Titan's mitts right then, opening up everything else necessary to continue finding other things in the overworld, as well as getting into Misery Mire as soon as they get the flute, that is.
I think the more important thing we're missing right now with those mitts, as long as Turtle Rock is not Quake, they can go finish it.
That is a very valuable point. They would be able to finish that ahead of time, and even though full clearing it is only going to take a little more time than, say, go-moding Turtle Rock, it would be a valuable play just on the chance that you might be able to get more items ahead of time than having to worry about finding it in the other palaces.
Turtle Rock's actually one of the few dungeons where the time to finish it and the time to go mode it is really not too much of a difference. It's a very just linear and straightforward dungeon. The reason it's nice to save till last is because of, the transit time to get to the top of the mountain in the Dark World to go to Ganon's Tower, but this really screams go to Turtle Rock at this point in the siege.
It really does. I wonder what we're going to find there, and I wonder if Trinex is going to be holding anything. I've seen anything from the single green rupee or a single arrow all the way to the hookshot being held by Trinex. Let's hope that doesn't have to worry, or have to be a thing our runners have to worry about. Nonetheless, if they do have to also go into Laser Bridge, they are at least prepared with not only 3 bottles that they could fill in the event they wanted to use safeties, but also the cape. And Nicholacci going to the shovel spot, deciding to pick up the filthy piece of heart. And King Helmasaur going and putting in a little bit of fireball work, while Trisscorp goes and makes sure to put work into the mask. And with 3 swipes, we don't even have to worry about Helmasaur King at that very moment anymore. Only a bomb upgrade for the last item, and the crystal has been grabbed. Mike the V about to not only find their bow, but the Titan's mitts the moment they go into the maze. And it appears they're already planning ahead, going and throwing the bomb so they don't have to worry about throwing it later on. And with that save and quit, we are going to see Trisscorp start back on the top of the pyramid. Nope, they saved and quit in the Dark World and got back to the Light World?
They don't have the mirror, so the game is not going to force you to the Dark World, because you would have no way to get back ever.
That is a valid point, and I actually keep forgetting they have the mirror, because at this point it's very common to have the mirror.
Yes. Yeah, once you've killed Aghanim 1 and you have the mirror, if you save and quit in the Dark World, it will spit you out in the pyramid. Outside of
those conditions, though, you start over in the Light World again. Gotcha. That is that's something that's just a simple little mistake I should have had memorized by now. My mistake. But nonetheless, we are finally seeing Zora, and we are getting a little bit of love for a lot of money. Oh, you hate to see that.
Yeah.
Mike the V finally getting those golden gloves.
Mike the V really didn't have too many other locations available to him. He had a couple, I think, single item locations he might have been able to check, but there was a lot of stuff available to him pod, whereas Nicholacci and SaltyPhry, they went ahead and cleaned up their available options to him, and they're pretty much at that point where they're kind of deadlocked, go check pod, or unless one of them wants to walk. Actually, they can't even do that, so yeah, pod is...
In this case, one of them's even checking Desert Palace out of desperation, which is not the first time we've seen someone today in this specific race go into Desert Palace.
Everyone actually checked Desert, but Trisscorp, but he was also the one that decided to go into pod first, opposed to doing the other things.
Ah, my mistake.
Yeah, and they also have Ice Palace available to them too. That's not a bad play either. It's a little obnoxious to do without the boots, but I can go ahead and let you know that all of these runners are more than capable to do it from first-hand knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. And from experience of seeing many of the runners here in this side of the tournament go and manage to tackle everything in such a quick speed, being able to tackle those ice physics is probably no problem to them whatsoever, no matter how annoying it may be. And we had another burrito sighting. Burrito sighting, sorry. And sorry to cut you off. Do go ahead.
No worries. He was just... I was laughing. The turtles were trolling him a little bit, kind of bodying him off that warp, so he had to get the hammer out to push him off.
Oh, that is rough.
And there's SaltyPhry getting his bow, thinking, should have just went here first. I wouldn't have had to go into EP, and then he wouldn't have went and did all the weird little single item things around the world. He could have just been knocking out 2 crystal dungeons, but there's still plenty of race left to be had here. And the midts open up so many different options now. I'll be really curious to see where all the runners go after this.
And here we have the second longest wall-moving cutscene of the game. Feel free to try to recite the Jeopardy theme if you want to wonder how long it takes.
The second longest?
I think it's the second longest wall transition. I think Misery Mire is a little longer.
I thought they were all the same. I could be wrong on that. Or maybe at least... I'm pretty sure Misery Mire and Pot are the same, because they're going the same direction. But, you know, I guess it seems a little bit longer because you can't actually see it. But I think they're all the same. I could be wrong. I've never actually timed it, and also I've already told you that, you know, don't listen to me, but I'm just going to say I think they're all the same.
Fair enough, nonetheless. Meanwhile, the Turtle Room, being not as much of a problem for Mike the V as some of the others have experienced. And we are seeing Nicholacci go into the other room to make sure to not only take care of those mimics and avoid all the blue jellies, but to also get the remaining 2 chests before heading, if I'm not mistaken, to the other half of the top of the dungeon to make sure to get their golden glove and then heading over to Helmelsor's Cave. Speaking of which, Mike the V already going and using vanilla strats instead of holding out their sword. And Trisscorp making pretty decently quick kills off of the majority of all of these Armos Knights. Not exactly getting the true and tried method of the quick kill, but still getting it done very quickly nonetheless. And we have an interdimensional high five of crystals, one in the Dark Palace, one in the Eastern Palace.
And for the most part, everyone's about to finish up and have their all 3 crystals for all of the runners right now. We don't know exactly, but for the most part, there's a good chance they have the potential to clear out at least 5 of them. Excuse me, they could do everything but Mire right now, if I recall.
Technically, if the medallion that they have is not Quake required, if the medallion they require is not Quake, they can tackle almost every one of them except Misery Mire. We are currently waiting to see where the flute is. Then again, depending on where 5 and 6 are, which I believe you already mentioned the location of at least 5.
It was Ice Palace in Thieves Town.
Ah, I see. Oh, so they are literally 1 palace away from going and checking Fat Fairy and the double chest. But nonetheless, it seems like Trisscorp is already on that path because they are heading straight over to Ice Palace.
It's a really good play in hindsight. If he just straight up finds the flute here, I mean, he could literally almost be in go mode. The only thing that could hold him up a little bit is he was the only one that didn't go into Hera, which did have that ether medallion, but I don't think there's going to be much that, you know, keeps him from going up there eventually, so to speak, because it is a crystal dungeon he does need to still do.
we have a slight chance of both dungeons requiring the same medallion. Maybe it might be Bombo's. We won't know until we find out, but nonetheless, other than that, the only thing that would keep them besides the flute and possibly a medallion would be if the seed decided to be very trolly and have the boots locked away somewhere and then have Ganon's key on Bob's lamp, which has been seen before.
We can only hope, right? That would be the dream.
Oh, it's been the dream, and SaltyPhry goes down.
It looks like we're struggling a little bit with Mike's stream here. I think we're working on getting that fixed.
So far, it's still good on my side.
Oh, so you can see it?
Oh, Mike the V just went down, but that's okay.
Okay.
Chances are Mike the V will just be back up in a second. In the meantime, almost getting the 2 Stalfos, but only barely missing the opportunity. It appears we're going to be seeing most likely a full clear from... Nope, we are seeing a bomb jump because the key count is 1. They are going to clear as much as possible without having to worry about doing this extra walk and then finding a way to get back down there. And, oh, was hoping for a first shot with the chest, but we're going to see if they manage to find a way to get the pixel just right, and they seem to be just a little low.
It's actually kind of interesting whenever he's kind of flashing after he takes damage. You can see the shadow a little bit there, but I will say for this situation specifically, this is why I would not use this sprite.
Oh, and they finally managed to land it.
He landed it at the best time there. He was running out of opportunities to be able to do it with this current health situation.
Absolutely, and that would have been a nightmare for anyone trying to complete this dungeon as quick as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good place to die. He does have a magic potion too, but it's, you know, important to note too, you do need... Well, he has Bombo, so he doesn't need a full magic meter, but having the most magic you can makes Cold Stare the easiest. Looks like Mike is magically teleported to Turtle Rock, so well, I guess he made that play.
That is a very interesting play, but nonetheless logical, especially with the amount of items that they can acquire, and it pays off with the Mirror Shield, making Laser Bridge that much easier.
I always get a little suspicious when I have a early Mirror Shield that Laser Bridge might be required, so it'll be interesting if that's where we find the flute.
It would not be surprising in the least at this point, but nonetheless that would be a fantastic update. SaltyPhry just taking care of the last of King Helmasaur and getting the crystal.
Really
All
nice
things considered on the race
to...
between those two, it seems like they are generally pretty even, although Mike the V seems to have pulled ahead just slightly. Meanwhile, Trisscorp and Nicholacci seem to be relatively close to each other. However, it does seem that Nicholacci's still a little bit behind, and also cleared one different dungeon than Trisscorp. Trisscorp may be going for the possibility, that they wanted to finish Tower of Hera last because they could literally mirror out, go into Tower of Hera, leave, and then transport themselves right back into the Dark World, and then immediately open Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, it's an awesome play to make, and with Mike the V stream, we kind of do know that most likely, unless he picked up a medallion when we couldn't see, but that Turtle Rock's only going to be locked by Bombos or Ether. I would really like to know if it was Ether or not, but I guess that's something we'll have to see later. So I'm sure on his way up there, he did check, Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, so there's a chance he could have found Quake right in there when we weren't looking. Actually, probably no chance at all for that, because he would have had to mirror. He would have needed a mirror to make that play.
That's actually a very good point. So we're still not going to see if Mimic Cave is holding anything. And would it not be such a troll if we found the mirror at the end of Laser Bridge only to find something in Mimic Cave.
Well, he actually must have found that mirror somewhere because he has it now.
That must have... Oh, you know what it must have been? It must have been in the chests after the 4 lamps in Turtle Rock, considering my screen came back right as he was entering the bottom right or bottom left room.
There's that option, or what he most likely did is he went there in the light world and he opened Turtle Rock, and then he probably didn't go in until he checked those chests over there. Yeah, there it is. The mirror's on the bookshot. Okay.
Oh, really? Interesting. I didn't think enough time for that had progressed, but apparently I was super wrong. Meanwhile, Bombos is going off like no problem. Very valuable strategy to save magic to also make it a little easier and a little less risky for getting close enough to give Cold Stare a hug. Cold Stare, as you see, taking down a significant amount of your HP if it touches you. Fortunately, one of those fire rod shots did a double hit as it was going to the wall. And just like that, all the worries that you could have for Cold Stare have gone completely out of nowhere. Mike making a very clean route through the Chain Chomp room, and also managing to get through this area rather quickly and only taking 1 hit of damage.
Trisscorp remains to be the outlier of the group here, doing the opposite plays of everyone. It didn't look like there was anything in Ice Palace that kind of paid off for him, but I mean, it's still nice he completed in it again. I'll be really interested if he decides to go do Turtle Rock before he does Hera. I would imagine you'd want to do Hera first. But it would pay out for him if he didn't, because he could make it just a pinch more efficient, but he has no idea that that mirror is kind of resting in Hookshot Cave, so...
He also has no idea whether or not either is in fact required for Turtle Rock. However, as we have seen, it is indeed Bombos, according not only to the other 2 runners, but also chat.
It is Bombos, I did see it. We don't trust chat.
But it's fun to do that. Anyways, we now also see that we've gotten a shield pickup, we've gotten a bomb upgrade, we've gotten a heart piece, we're getting the mirror, and Mike the V is getting that much closer to Trinex.
I didn't really see too much coming out of Turtle Rock outside I know Mike the V did pick up a mushroom in there. That's something
so
that
we have yet another fetch quest. And such a quick 1 cycle on Trinex, making very short work out of that first stage. And after getting away with the poke and circle slash, a couple of hits later and Trinex goes down, revealing that they hold 3 bombs. Totally worth it, Kappa. Meanwhile, you also grab the crystal, so actually decently worth it.
Well, it probably won't be something that... I'd imagine the runners are most likely going to be going to Ice Palace after this. We know that there's not going to be anything there. Unless they decide to get a little cheeky and explore some overworld, hoping to get that flute so they could indeed go mode Ice Palace. It's probably going to be kind of the same routing as far as that goes. Although I wouldn't imagine to see an advantage on that part for either of the runners.
Oh, also, my mistake, to correct myself, the item that they must have grabbed was indeed the swag net.
Oh, they got a bug net?
They did. And if I just saw that correctly, did I not just see the flute?
On which screen?
Nope, I must be imagining things. Never mind, I take that back.
I mean, I know that we all are on the edge of our seats looking for that flute right now.
I am super amped for that flute right now. I am waiting to see them go through Misery Mire, check not only the shed, but also Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, this is gonna get real fun after Mike the V finishes up Ice Palace here. It's gonna be which gamble do you want to make? Is it gonna be overworld? You gonna go dip into some of these pendant dungeons, or?
You know, it's a good question, but there is one thing that we still have yet to check with the Book of Medora. Actually, no, we've missed two things that we could check with the Book of Medora. One of them is Bombo's tablet. A tablet, in fact, that most do tend to neglect, and sometimes that ends up making all the difference. Much like Mikan's Cave, as we are now apparently calling it.
Oh, don't do that to him. Now, what's the other thing you can check with the book? I don't know if I know what it is. I'm most certain that chat has no idea what it is. They probably have no idea what else you could check with that book.
Well, and I'm going to clearly leave it a mystery for them.
You don't want to spoil the
Big key in vanilla location in Turtle Rock. I can't believe I missed that earlier. Meanwhile, Trisscorp going through and taking care of Tower of Hera, apparently leaving this just for the routing. It does look like the last one we are going to need to get to is, in fact, Misery Mire.
Oh, Trisscorp taking a little bit of a fall there from a bounce back from a turtle there.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate for that to happen.
Mike the V showing why you should just play with standard sprites. He gets his bomb jump first try.
Standard or the frog, depending on how you actually angle up your bomb jump. Meanwhile, putting that mirror shield to good use. Getting off those extra strats.
Nice to have, especially when you don't have the boots. Doing laser skips without the boots is not a fun experience for anybody.
You are absolutely correct. It is not indeed. SaltyPhry ignoring the idea of going and using a bomb for the safety of that secondary cave exit. Meanwhile, Trolldorm showing that it too can troll hard, except unfortunately it can't troll hard for very long against something as such as the Carrot Sword.
SaltyPhry was full health going into that. All the runners have found a green potion. I don't think any of them used it. He's probably not too worried about this Trinex fight.
And all things considered for this level of skill in the tournament, neither would I be that worried, especially with only 1 heart of damage.
Yeah. Really the biggest troublesome is running out of magic with it. He kind of whiffed on a couple Ice Rod shots, but you get 8 shots with full magic. I think he's only going to be able to get 7, though, because he had to use a little bit to get his block, but he takes care of it just fine.
Yep, very fortunately, he managed to make that happen without a hitch. Even though sometimes the Ice Rod, due to its slight bit of delay and the trolly nature of the Trinex heads, can be a little more difficult to nail. Speaking of nailing, there goes Trinex in a blazing glory. We have Trisscorp going and checking Spiral Cave, only to find out that Spiral Cave was a disappointment all along, and a Cane of Burna strat from Nicholacci. Very interesting, and actually, I like that strategy a lot.
Yeah, he's just literally blocking his path so the beetle couldn't get to him.
Perhaps not as quick as it could be, but nonetheless still very effective, especially when you don't want to waste your bow, and you know that you have a full magic pot coming up ahead.
Be interested to see if he takes the safety here. He doesn't. Everyone's feeling pretty good.
Confidence is key when you come into some of these dungeons, and knowing that you're not about to die. Of course. That one's a given, though. Meanwhile, we see Mike the V also mostly full clearing Ice Palace, hoping to find something of value and not having to worry about where in the actual bleep the float could be.
SaltyPhry didn't do Spike Cave. His first tripped up the mountain, so this will be the last thing he really needs to do a Death Mountain.
And we're really just picking up a decent amount of money.
Only thing, unfortunately, he's going to find in his chest is just the clear conscience that the flute's not on Death Mountain, and that's about it.
Yep, that is the only bit of relief they are going to be finding in that. With that said, one has to wonder, is the flute either stuck behind a tablet, a pendant, or perhaps is the boots? And if that is the case, would that mean flute is under a bonk rock or King's Tomb?
Yeah, they'd have to find those boots before they could pull that pedestal, even if they wanted to, but they still have a lot of locations left to check. You have Swamp Palace, which that's pretty safe bet right now at this point, in my opinion.
It is entirely possible, too. You're right, especially with 6 chests they can go and dive through.
But, you know, you go all the way through Swamp Palace, and it just ends up being at that Bombos tablet. You feel really silly once you find it, and
absolutely.
You'll never feel good about your position in a race.
Unless they were the only ones to actually go through, find half magic and silver arrows, so they were the only ones with that significant speed difference. That would be awesome. However, in this case, Swamp Palace being a more logical bet. Oh my goodness! The flute was
the
with
mushroom in Turtle Rock.
Mushroom. The fetch quest pays off. We have a race.
That is huge. That is such a
massive amount of intel.
SaltyPhry.
Absolutely, a massive amount of intel that they're going to be able to pull off right now.
And
Mike has no clue
to go do that. Yeah. Wow. That's a huge play. That is. He's going to be very happy that he did that.
When Swag Duck gets initiated, that does mean SaltyPhry is in go mode.
I mean, we do still have the potential for a Quake medallion being over at Meyer, and then, the off chance of boost.
That's a good point.
You know, even though he could technically not be in go mode, he's still going to be very happy that, at least if he's looking for Quake, he can fly around on his magic bird.
And let's face it, sometimes, even if you have to search for Quake, having Swag Duck there to bring you a place a lot quicker than just walking or saving and quitting is pretty convenient. And here we have the moment of truth. Are we going to find anything of value along with some intel as to what is required on Misery Mire? It's always a slow crawl when it comes to, say, walking right on over. And it is Ether.
And that was the one in Hera, so wow, these crystal dungeons gave them the perfect breadcrumb trail to finish the game here. You didn't even have to worry about the pendant dungeons.
Absolutely, and that is super convenient. Although we will say, along with this officially being go mode for SaltyPhry, rip the dream, already down 1 bird toss. No bird tossing from SaltyPhry. Disappointed. We still have 3 other runners for the potential of bird toss, but let's find out what happens when they get to that point. Mike the V, in the meantime, not only going and rescuing Senior Frog, but also going and checking the peg cave from the hammers. The hammer peg cave. There we go. I can words. I can English. Not really. Anyways, now that we're going out of the dark world and into the light world to save the breadsmith, let's see what the reward is. Oh, we have the first check, and it is just a key over in Misery Mire. Meanwhile, it is a piece of heart. You get a little bit of love for that fleeting dance and adventure with Senior Frog. An interesting strategy by Mike the V, just throwing that can of Samaria onto...
What he's doing right now, yeah, he doesn't have the powder, so there's an interesting glitch. If you run out of magic and you use Cane of Samaria, when you have no magic, and then switch over to the mushroom immediately and use it, the game, for some reason, thinks you have powder. And so he's able to sequence break having the powder and get himself a vanilla half magic.
Well, that is convenient for half magic. I actually completely forgot about that glitch.
That was actually super convenient, too, because he also refilled his magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we are seeing, the big key was already found, and SaltyPhry is already on their way to going and tackling Vitreous.
Yeah, he's just a
Meanwhile,
big key away from being able to climb Ganon's tower.
Trisscorp taking the time to also double check. Mimic Cave. Wow, I can't believe it took me that long to finish a sentence. Whew, I should have some more coffee. Meanwhile, Nicholacci also going down and going and checking for half magic to only get half magic from the bat.
This powder trick is the new hottest thing in Zelda Randomizer, let me tell you.
Apparently so.
It's a very low percentage shot, but man, it's gonna feel really good the one day that's, you know, what makes or breaks a race.
Absolutely. And on top of that, sometimes that is really all that can... Whoa, hello, Trisscorp.
He just took a little bit of a health refill there.
Oh, okay. The moment I look away, someone dies. Go figure.
What's even more ironic about that powder trick is I'm sure both of the runners would have been much happier not being able to do it because they turned in their mushroom, because they would have a flute right now and be in go mode.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, instead they're... Yeah, it's rough and it's unfortunate, but
Mike the V
I
going
think Mike
through.
the V is gonna find it because he's
Heading
taking
right
the
over.
chest on a journey here.
And speaking of a journey, SaltyPhry is going to take a journey from the beginning of the dungeon to go back to fight Vitreous. Press F to pay respects. Meanwhile, the green chest is going through. Sorry, I just love the fact that it's the green chest. Turtle Rock with ease, navigating all of the traps and all of the puzzles just as well as any human character could have done.
Oh, SaltyPhry took a death there. I was gonna ask, did he mirror out? Yeah.
Oh no, he got hit by Vitreous.
Oh, so
you
he...
can see
Okay,
from
wow.
those frustration swipes, that was not a pleasant experience.
That's huge. That gives Mike the V even more of a chance to make up some time here. He's...
Absolutely, and that is going to be a significant amount of time considering where he's going next. After that save and quit is to enable Swag Duck. We are about to say hello to the second Swag Duck sighting, or sorry, the third Swag Duck sighting. Wait, no second, Nicholacci has just got the flute. We're about to see two Swag Duck sightings out of 4 after seeing one already.
Oh, Nicholacci did get his flute. He hasn't gone into Ice Palace yet, has he?
I
don't believe he has.
I missed Ice Palace if Nicholacci did go in. However, I do not believe so. And as we know, with, if I'm correct, the mushroom not being in Ice Palace, that or my memory is just completely going off of its own randomizer at the moment. And we have confirmation that Ether is there, and without any seconds to spare, Mike the V decides to go in to try to tackle Misery Mire as quick as possible, considering that they are already on go mode. Trisscorp going and finally taking care of Trinex. And I say finally, despite the fact that this is actually a very quick time, all things considered.
Yeah, and we'll see what he does next. Little does he probably know that all he is turning in that mushroom from being in go mode to, you know, he has just one dungeon left. I don't know if Nicholacci has finished Ice yet or not. Seems to be a little bit of confusion on who's finished Ice Palace and who hasn't right now.
That is a very valid point, and it seems that with that out of the way, SaltyPhry got their revenge on Vitreous for a single piece of heart. And just like that, Trisscorp takes care of Trinex like it was nobody's business. And at this point, it depends on where Trisscorp is going, because if they end up finding the flute, This is going to be a super quick race between all 4 of our runners, never mind each of their 1v1s.
Yeah, he's just going to head over and probably finish up Spike Cave. Another important thing to note on Nicholacci's side, he hasn't done Eastern Palace yet either, so he is dragging 3 crystals, though he is in go mode, whereas Trisscorp is only missing Meyer, but he still needs his flute, so it's going to be very interesting.
That is actually a very interesting point, and Trisscorp going in and double-checking Spike Cave. And SaltyPhry finally diving into Ice Palace, leaving it until after they hit go mode, because something absolutely satisfying is watching Ice Palace become go mode Palace. And Spike Cave showing that it is indeed as worthless as it had already seemed in the first place. Meanwhile, now back in the Dark World, we're going to see the mirror out with a Swag Duck sighting very soon. Probably a save and quit from this point to go over to the Sanctuary to head over to Kakariko.
He doesn't have his flute yet.
You are correct. He does not have the flute yet.
But
I already got ahead of myself, thinking they had
it's
just...
It's alright. It's confusing. There's 4 people going on right now, and they, for the most part, did keep their routing the same, but just in little tricky orders.
I have to admit, 4 at once is a lot more of a... demanding of keeping track than you would assume.
I wonder if Trisscorp's making the play on Swamp right now.
Interestingly, SaltyPhry making the decision to go with the double bomb, most likely missing the setup for the single bomb shot, but fortunately having more than enough capability to set up the bomb jump. Vitcher is being tackled over on Mike the V's side. This could be a very make or break moment in the event that SaltyPhry cannot manage to catch up to the 1.5 palaces that SaltyPhry has left.
Yeah, Mike the V does have probably about a 1.5 minutes to a 2-minute advantage if I were to probably, incorrectly estimate here, but really unfortunate for Trisscorp right now in the bottom left is his routing has been on point the whole entire run, and
lo and behold, the fetch
this one
quest.
decision, yeah, it's probably going to be what might take him out of this race, but there's still, a lot of race to be had here.
There is still plenty of race to be had, and as we have seen, no matter the position they are in, this still can become anybody's race. We have seen race upsets. We have seen things come down to a simple, minor bit of execution. We have seen strategic decisions cause races. It all depends exactly on those very last seconds. After all, for all we know, Nicholacci might not find silver arrows, and Trisscorp might, and despite having a bit of a time difference, still have just enough to make silvers on multiple hits. Make all the difference, rather. Likely? Probably not as likely. However, still a possibility.
Well, Nicholacci still has to go do Ice, he still has to go to Eastern Palace, whereas Trisscorp doesn't have to do any of those. It's still going to be time consuming, but I mean, if he makes this play, he finishes Swamp, he'll probably go check Bombos, and then he'll probably turn in his green pendant. At that point, if he keeps following the trail and goes all the way up to turn in his Mushroom, we could still have a pretty close race in our hands. It really is going to depend on, his execution here in Swamp, and then it helps even more if he finds something that makes his travels go a little bit quicker.
That is a valid point, too. Because realistically, with the amount of time that Trisscorp has ahead, it's still going to give Nicholacci, despite a shorter amount of time to catch up, still a significant lead over to Trisscorp. Speaking of leads, I keep forgetting that Mike the V is actually ahead, so thank you for reminding me when you first started the explanation.
Yeah, he's actually finishing up his 7th crystal, so he'll be the first of the 4 runners to head up to Ganon's Tower. SaltyPhry is literally 1 Eastern Palace away from being in that same situation as well.
Fortunately for both runners, they did already go into Eastern Palace and clear as much as they could before having the bow. So this is, for both of them, incredibly quick to not only take care of, but also suggest that they are going to have very small distances between their end times.
Trisscorp will be heading to the back of Swamp. Again, there's still, I'd say, a good chance for him. I think if he decides to go back in and check the left side, that might be curtains on it. He's debating whether he's going to do it or not. Unfortunately, you get baited by that big key to make you come back into Swamp. You can't ever just make it convenient.
Oh, speaking of big keys, though, chat's already getting ahead of us. It is always customary in the Link to the Past Randomizer community to announce that we are heading towards Ganon's Tower, and there is going to be 222 chests we are going to be opening to find out where the big key is. Feel free to take your guess in chat how many we're going to be opening, or perhaps the location. If you feel extra sassy, you can even specify the location. We're already seeing Pillar Big Key and Key on Torch with vanilla boots.
That's pretty sassy.
Oh, that is very sassy. I approve of that level of sass as a sassy person myself. First Armo's chest, Tile Room, Bob's chest, Love Potion number 9. Always bet on Tile Room 22. We got a 13 Flame Bar Room. Even Christos is going for the blood and hoping for Boots on Torch. You already know how much hype there's going to be if that ends up being the situation at hand.
I could only hope.
You also realize that if that is the case, that means out of all of our runners, Trisscorp has accidentally made the smartest play possible now that they have the green pendant.
Well, I mean, that's assuming the boots are in the vanilla location, but...
Of course. However, I
would have less stuff to check, most certainly. This is bad news, though, as he heads back into the Swamp.
Getting the big key at the last second and then checking this second area.
Yeah.
Especially since now Nicholacci is going to be heading right on over to Ganon's Tower as soon as they finish up Eastern Palace. To be fair, Eastern Palace is still a bit more time than checking the big key chest.
Oh, mikethev found his powder on right side Ganon's Tower. You didn't need to get all 7 crystals to get that half magic, though, as he showed us all. Or at least, yeah, the half magic, because Sequence broke all that good stuff. And there was no big key on that torch, so we are in official go mode. And yeah, mikethev has about a 2-minute advantage, so he's looking really good to win his race, and Nicholacci's in a pretty good spot as well.
Shoutouts to the possibility of boots at pedestal, but not required.
Soon we'll see. It's a possibility. There's still a lot of places they didn't have to check. The seed was...
Absolutely. And Firebar Room also proving to be a bust. We're seeing some Bloomerang strats. Very nice execution over from mikethev on that one. And some more Bloomerang strats. Very excellent swag technique.
That's a good point. The boots can't be on the pedestal also.
Oh, that's right.
Good old Bootlock Desert.
Bootlock Desert indeed. I forgot about that detail.
The boots are probably not even in this game. Let's be honest. We know what logic we're playing. Who are you fooling? Right, Mike heading up the rando room, still looking for that big key.
Secret plot twist, you actually need the silver hook shot. The silver hook shot is pedestal locked.
Ooh.
Oh my god, what are those?
I told you the boots were in the rando room.
In the rando room.
Alright, mikethev, if he wants, he can go finish up Desert Palace, but he probably just wants to finish the game.
Oh, sometimes You know that level of assault you can get when you see something and you expect one thing and it turns out to be even worse than you already expected? That is what I'm feeling for that boot location, friends. And let me assure you, we're about to likely see a right side gamble need to be made unless the next 4 chests have the big key.
Well, SaltyPhry is already going on the left side, and it's a tough play to make to go right side when you don't get a key in the first 2 chests, which there weren't. There's very few people I see that end up going to the right side when they don't get a key over there, because that forces just really inefficient backtracking. But, you know, sometimes you have a feeling. He actually, well, he went the Stalfos room and then went right side, so let me just change everything I said. This could actually even them up. This is actually insane.
Are we... Oh my goodness.
If there is no...
Are we actually
in this
seeing...
chest, SaltyPhry is actually taking a slight lead.
Oh my god, Armos room first chest. Who is the person that called that in chat? Congratulations. You have officially won bragging rights, because that's all I can afford. Vanilla big key. Really?
Mike has a little bit of a problem here. He only has 2 arrows going into a room where he needs 4 arrows to clear it.
Oh no, that is... Mike's about to find out real quick.
It looks like he only has 2 arrows. Yeah, he's going to shoot.
You are correct. And...
Yeah.
You hate to see that. Oh.
Well, he has a shovel, so I guess it's digging time.
Yup.
And just to add salt to the wound, SaltyPhry just got a nice 10-arrow drop.
Absolutely.
In sync on his screen.
Hope you got that Shovel Knight music prepped, because we're gonna need it for a second. Oh, and they are swag fluting away to a better digging spot. Ooh.
Oh God, this just got really interesting.
Ooh, this hurts. This hurts.
Where's he
They could have taken the ramble with the shovel dash. Oh, you know what they're doing? They're probably pulling one of the trees. They're pulling one of the trees for an arrow drop.
Does this still... This is not a pull tree anymore because he killed Aga.
Oh, that's right, it's not.
I mean, at this point, it's probably quicker just to go to the Dark World and go down to the Shop of Curiosities. Doesn't that sell arrows?
Even the thief was hesitant to go and keep robbing him because all he pulled was a couple of green rupees.
I can't even right now. This is something else.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen this happen before.
This is some next level upsets. What? Oh, there we go. Going and finding out that they can actually
he's
pull
getting
a
robbed
bush.
as quick as he picks them up. What's going on? Get out of here.
This bully is just...
win.
This bully is super rude and does not care. They live the thug life.
Oh, and he's getting rock blocked on the way. What more could go wrong for Mike?
Mike literally getting the worst of chances. Fortunately, not getting the true bad ending worst of chances, where they got blocked by the rock twice.
Yeah. It looked like for a half second there, he was like, I left my portal outside, I can just go right up, but that's not the case, because you will cannibalize
well, at this
it.
point, they did cannibalize it, didn't they? They went... No, wait, it should still be there.
But he has to go the long way around. He was trying to take the more direct route, but again, he has to use the meter to get up there, so it wouldn't save him any time.
Very valid point.
Literally, I mean, SaltyPhry is just the ice Armos away from doing it, whereas Mike is just a couple screens away from getting his, Go the other way, Mike!
Red mail apparently being for cowards up on the floating rock.
His portal is still there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Why are you going this way?
I can't answer you. Oh, accidentally pulling up both skulls, attempting the bomb jump, landing it, but getting knocked off by the beetle.
Oh, gosh.
That is some true disrespect strats from the RNG.
I am not sure which runner wants to win this race right now.
I wouldn't be able to tell you, but what I can tell you is that we are seeing some absolutely unprecedented turns of events. Bob's chest, going and depleting all of the magic.
He did get a lucky refill from those hearts. He did have, the powder. He may have not realized because he had just recently got it. So Mike did neutralize a few minutes of his lead, but he still is firmly in the driver's seat depending on his execution. But I mean, there's still various things that could change the outcome here. An extra cycle on Agatu, an extra cycle on Landmola. This race is by no means over.
Oh, absolutely. There is still so much going on. And as mentioned before, there is literally all sorts of possibilities to be made. Oh, poor Triss, though. In the meantime, going and literally pulling over everything, trying to figure out what they're missing, not realizing they picked up exactly what they needed in Turtle Rock.
You have to forgive me for a moment. I might be a little silent. I'm like, my eyes are glued to this screen. I love races that are like this. This is insane. Oh, man. I will say in Mike's defense, I really hope he pulls this out. I would hate to have known I lost a race because I went to Egypt to go find some arrows.
Yeah, right? This race is tighter than an eagerly rewound mixtape.
Where did you come up with this?
Well, you gotta find family-friendly versions of saying everything, don't you?
Do you have a PG translation like notebook just right next to you at all times?
No, I'm just used to saying it. However, it's also not about me right now. I'll tell you more about it in Discord, because we are seeing the gauntlet being completed. And with the Cane of Samaria strats, we have the next section of the Double Bridge area. Followed by the second well-executed Cane of Samaria strat, right into the Dash of Destiny, making sure to clip one of the guards off of the thing.
Mike's execution through GT right now is on point.
Absolutely, it is smooth, and dare I even say, on fire. But nonetheless... I'm sorry, Chad, I feel bad for that one too. Anyways, now we're going and seeing the Fire Rod strats being used for the Falling Tile torch room, and just as quick as he entered the room, he is saying peace out to those two remaining chests, and the two mini Helmosaurs, using the bomb strats and faking out that one area, or that one spike thing, I can't remember its name, and getting a lot of rupees and the magic refill, making sure to get the cash money before going and fighting Troll Dorm 2 Troll Harder, also known as Troll Dorm 2.5 Troll with a Vengeance.
Poor Trisscorp just found his flute, so he's probably not feeling too good about that location.
Trisscorp definitely feeling a bit of equal amounts of relief and frustration, undoubtedly assuming that they are behind, and without inaccurate assumptions. Meanwhile, Mike going through and very smoothly getting through the most annoying section of Ganon's Tower, in my opinion. Right on over into Aga 2.
I'm a little curious right now if Salty knows he has boots. I mean, he did get him a little late, so it's understandable.
In a race like this, when everything is going so fast and you need to be able to pull off as much as possible with absolutely the best execution, it is very easy to get caught up in everything else that you've been doing, just out of habit. Meanwhile, as we're seeing, Mike the V getting one of the best possible RNGs for Aga 2.
Nice lineups there.
And behold, we finally hear the Swag Duck anthem, and the fourth Swag Duck takes flight. Into Misery Mire we go. Meanwhile, Mike the V heading right over into the pyramid, going to show Ganon what is up. Yeah, SaltyPhry, surprisingly, not too far behind. This literally could come down to, and I do not want this to necessarily happen, a single fall. Or a fairyless death.
Yeah, fall would be pretty big at this point, especially if it's really late in the encounter, because they're not gonna have silvers. SaltyPhry did check those 2 chests that Mike skipped, and there were no silvers in those either.
And as we saw in the validation chest, there was not much of worth. Meanwhile, part 3 of the Aghanim fight, and we're halfway through it already. Getting some relatively decent RNG from Ganon, not giving him the 37 teleport Andy around the world tradition. Although he's definitely getting a preview of it at this very moment.
Just a few teleports there.
Silver arrows confirmed in the light world somewhere. Getting the fire glitch.
I wonder if they're on that pedestal.
Oh, that would be oof. Oof. We're gonna have to find out.
Mike doing a good job here, being patient and setting up the triples here.
Yeah, getting some really solid execution on those triples. Something that is rather surprising, but not necessarily too off the par from what I'd expect from this level of talent in the tournament.
Definitely need to be well practiced.
SaltyPhry also getting. Oh, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
But and this is huge.
That was a very fast silverless
goes
fight.
Down, and Mike the V finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 53 seconds. Oh my goodness.
So GG to him, and he did already have a win, so that will make him 2-0 in his Twitch stage round. So good luck to all the other runners that are 2-0. You have a chance to be facing against Mike.
Absolutely. Good luck to them indeed. Meanwhile, SaltyPhry is still not too far behind. Nicholacci also not too far behind SaltyPhry. Make sure you go and follow every one of these racers on Twitch. They have been busting their butts to give you one heck of an entertaining show. And by all means did they. Alright, and we are seeing Mike the V just not feeling the interview right now. Not a problem whatsoever. Nonetheless, congratulations to them. And good luck to whoever they are facing next in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike the V probably anticipated the first question we were going to ask him was that having something to do with the arrows, so I'm not surprised about him wanting to skip out in an interview. That's actually probably not the case, but we would definitely ask him about the arrows.
In his words, and I hope he doesn't mind me repeating it, need to dig a nice hole out in the back to put my head into, and I said, no worries, at least you found the shovel. It's very unfortunate that Salty managed to almost catch up, but just have only a little time go by. That made it too late. But nonetheless, once again, very solid execution from both runners.
Yeah. You know, Mike did give up some time looking for those arrows, but he definitely made up a decent amount of time with his GT execution. There was a couple situations that he had, or he didn't have to go through like SaltyPhry did. He definitely made up time on those.
Absolutely.
But I do think Mike the V had probably the quickest silverless Ganon fight I've seen with a tempered sword. That was really incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And that was... Ooh, that clutch potion at the end. Very, very nice usage of that potion from Trisscorp. Very unfortunate stroke of luck for him, but nonetheless, still managing to pull off the race like a champ. Probably looking over to the chat, wondering if IRC has the dot done, only to see that there is still a bit of a chance.
Yeah, you can't really feel good with the...
Oh, SaltyPhry goes down. Oof. Oof.
He was just a few spins away, too.
He
That's
was.
unfortunate.
Oh, it totally is. Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of your pride put aside just to have that emergency safety in the event for some reason you end up spaghettiing all over the floor. After all, we've all seen that from many races in the tournament. Someone's going in and suddenly, please mama, no spaghetti, and the next thing you know, they go and give Ganon a hug. Speaking of safety strats, the red potion getting used, while I believe that was Trisscorp went and just bought some more potions very, very wisely in this case. Nicholacci going through and making sure to get the Rude Tour tournament from Ganon, confirming that the Light World had the arrows again, and
we did confirm they're on the pedestal.
Silver's confirmed for pedestal. My goodness. I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, we got a pretty nice, just exhibition show match here between Nicholacci and SaltyPhry. They're actually not versus each other. It's top versus bottom, but we get to see who's going to finish their Ganon fight first.
It's side versus side, actually. You said top versus bottom, which would suggest that they're racing each other.
I don't know. The context made sense in my brain.
Don't worry, I knew what you meant, but for just clarification's sake, I had to mention that because you never know who's going to take it too literal and not realize what you meant. Nonetheless, this is absolutely one hell of a equivalent of an exhibition race between the two. While Trisscorp is going to finally ascend Ganon's tower,
Nicholacci pulled out ahead due to that SaltyPhry death and gets his Ganon done, and that means Nicholacci wins his match.
It does, and Nicholacci has officially hit the dot done with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 24 seconds. And SaltyPhry coming in as well with the dot done as an official time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 6 seconds. Can we get a bunch of GGs to all of our runners and save some of that energy for our friend Trisscorp, who again is also making sure to finish the seed? Because let's face it, who would want to see a dot forfeit at this point? Pretty much nobody, and neither would they, because they'd like to finally get through.
Pretty important to note too, Trisscorp, even though seemingly he does appear to be substantially a little bit further behind than the other runners, really had nothing to do with his play per se. He just, unfortunately, this is a randomizer, and you guess wrong. He was actually guessing right for the majority of the run, and then he just kind of got locked by that last item, whereas everyone else kind of beeline towards it. And that's just how it goes in randomizer.
And we are currently seeing Nicholacci over in the waiting room. So pardon me as I take care of that, and once again, please welcome the winner of the race, Nicholacci. Congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I feel alright. Happy that it's over with, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that one for you.
We may have to cut you short here too. We'll try our best, but this one started a little bit late, and I think we're all running behind schedule. We need more boots in these seats.
That's fine.
That is actually a very good point. Well, then I suppose that we might as well keep this quick for the moment. I might as well ask then, if that's the case, final thoughts.
Nothing much. Just looking forward to being 1-1 now instead of 0-2, which is, I was sort of expecting that to happen, but that's okay.
And congrats indeed. And
Thanks,
good luck in the next race, I suppose, then. We'll see you kicking a lot of butt in the future.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
We have another, I believe, doubleheader coming up on this. We might be switching over very shortly, so if you guys are planning on leaving because the races are over, don't even think about it. We're not even done yet. We got races till Christmas.
And speaking of which, that means you should be also following all of the speed gaming channels as well as the Randomizer Mania channels for not only the main but also the secondary tournament, because we are going to be having a ton of interesting close matches. And you do not want to miss any single bit of them. Speaking of follows, make sure to give all of our racers a follow. Make sure to also show some love to our tracker, Dude. It sounds like the Sandstorm reference, however, it is actually, in fact, their name, Dude. And also, shoutouts of anybody, of course, to Feasel as well, for not only providing the tracker, but also an excellent restream. And if you would so choose to, you can also follow your commentators for any reasons that you should choose. But if that means we're going to be switching over, do you have word that we're switching over immediately, or are we just seeing how this plays out?
I just saw that we are trying to switch over as soon as we can. I think whenever they might be ready to go is when we'll do it.
All right, so just in case, we will wait for the word, and in the event that happens, I will make sure to let it move over to everyone else. In the case that we end up being cut off beforehand, I'd like to get the outro out of the way. In the meantime, hi, I'm Glenty.
I'm Act the Boker.
And we'd like to thank you for hanging out and watching this race and ask you to please enjoy the next one coming up. Thank you so much for watching. And now that we got that outro out of the way, we can actually just continue a little bit of commentary until we switch over. And so far, it looks like they found... Did they not find the key? Are they missing something? Are they missing... Oh, they are missing arrows. Getting a quick arrow drop right off the bat. Nice and convenient.